What's going on, Geeks and Geekettes? It's Ted here with the Countdown to the Geekcast. I'm here with Daniel Logan. What's going on, brother?
I'm doing wonderful, man. We just had a wonderful show here in San Antonio.
I was just about to ask about that. This is arguably the biggest collection of Boba Fett's maybe we've ever seen together. How was the event the whole weekend? How'd it go for you?
It was wonderful. I mean, being able to be a part of Star Wars, it's one of those things that it's an honor to be able to have people still come and visit you, want to see you, excited to be able to talk stories about Star Wars. And, you know, it's an amazing thing being in the convention world as long as I have. I've got families now that have growing kids that I met 10, 20 years ago, you know, and some of them want to recreate the picture that I took. And I used to love grabbing the kids and holding them up, and now some of these kids are bigger than me, and it's a different meet and greet, you know, but it's still a sweet thing.
Fantastic. You are going to always be remembered as the youngest Boba Fett ever on live action film. What are some of your fondest memories about being on that set in this larger-than-life movie? One of my favorite movies, by the way. I don't care what anybody says. Episode 2 is incredible. Biggest lightsaber fight scene ever, by the way. But what do you most remember still from being on that set, being in the production? What are some of your fondest memories?
I mean, the fondest memory was being 13, you know, and being so young and innocent and ignorant to actually the world that I was actually being partaking in. With Star Wars, it was bigger than, you know, what I could ever imagine, and it already had a fan base larger than I could imagine before. Doing it was so amazing, you know. I've been able to stay in contact with quite a few of the actors, and then now as I'm getting older, you know, the actors like Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin Skywalker and stuff, it's all coming back around again, you know. And I was too young to hang out with them back on Attack of the Clones, but now, give it 20 years later, you know, we're at the age where, hey, you want to go out to get dinner, or, you know, meet somewhere and enjoy, you know, a couple of hours together. And it's one of those moments now that I'm truly cherishing for what I was given so many years ago.
Absolutely. I love when you and Temuera are doing conventions and panels together. How happy are you for him kind of having this resurgency, and now he's, you know, got his own TV show and he's kind of running with it? How happy are you for him?
I mean, for me, I've been the biggest Boba Fett fan ever since I became the character Boba Fett. And, you know, there was rumors that they were going to go different ways with the character and everything else. And for me, I started being the biggest ambassador for him and saying, well, you know, if you think about it, Boba Fett was a clone of Jango Fett, and Jango Fett next technically is going to become Boba Fett. So for me, I just started pushing this agenda that no, if there's anyone else to take over the role from him not being young to him being in his older ages, it has to be Temuera Morrison.
Yeah.
So for it to come full circle, it just opened the opportunity for so many stories and arcs and all these different things we can all explore now, you know? Not only this character Boba Fett, but all these off-spirited characters that have been created through this one, you know, beautiful character.
So as somebody who's been supporting a project like the Book of Boba Fett for so long to like finally come to fruition, what was your overall view of how they did it with the project? Were you happy with how it turned out?
I mean, you know, the funny thing is that you give Star Wars fans what they ask for, and then no one ever really likes it, you know what I mean? Until you give it like 10 years, and they're like, oh, that's the greatest thing ever, you know? And it's been 20 years with the prequels, you know, and now the prequels, these kids are at the age where, you know, they were 10 when they first saw it, and now they're 30, 40, you know? And for me, it's being able to have a revamp. So for me, I always go into everything with an open mind, but I'm still a critic because I love Star Wars like everyone else, you know, like, we could have kept his helmet on longer. Oh, we should have taken him off Tatooine, and maybe he should have tried to go and explore another, you know,
star system or something,
Exactly, you know, but like every Boba Fett fan, we all waited for that time for him to resurface, you know, did he meet his destiny or his death in the Sarlacc pit? Well, no, we all didn't believe it, and yes, it finally came true as a fan's perspective, you know. And
that was great.
You know, and people say, oh, well, this and this, and they have their, you know, critical sides about it too. But I said, you know, it's one of the first shows that came out that actually submits you straight back into Star Wars. You know, you got the multiple different kind of characters, you know, that made you, you know, relate. Oh, that's that character.
Absolutely.
Oh, Weequay's back. Oh, you know, you got the Jabba's family. We got to expand on Jabba. That well, now he has twin, you know, nephew and niece. So for a Star Wars fan, for me, I just truly appreciated going backwards or forwards, I guess, in the timeline, but being able to have so much of what I remembered in the Star Wars world that gave me, I went straight back into it, you know?
Absolutely.
He could have spent a little less time in the bacta tank, but if he did, he would have dreamed about me so much.
There you go.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but
that's what it would have been. You've done some voiceover work already for Star Wars. I know you can't tell us anything, and I know you're sworn to secrecy, but maybe you could tease fans that maybe one day we'll see you more often as supporting characters, as these other warriors, as these other fighters in the background. Are you interested? Are you interested in ever doing more of those things?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, for me, Star Wars became just bigger than a job that I was given, you know, or was blessed to be a part of. I mean, now my whole life is revolves around Star Wars. I have a Star Wars collection, probably about 300,000 collectibles, you know.
Oh my God.
Or more. You know, I'm probably stopped counting around like 200. So I'm probably more about 300,000 to 400,000 Star Wars pieces.
That's a
in my
museum.
collection. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need to open a museum.
Well, right now it looks some of it looks like a museum, and then a lot of it's just like hoarded boxes, and you know, on top of each other, and storage units in my offices and stuff like that. So
Wow, it's impressive.
yeah, so for me, I love Star Wars. You know, I became a huge fan of the franchise, and even beyond to the collecting side of it and stuff like that.
Well, I appreciate it. This was a fantastic event. What was sort of the most interesting thing that you signed this weekend? I know you get a lot of interesting items, some old relics, some antique items. What was one of the most interesting things that you signed?
You know, this kid came up to me, and these kids are looking a lot older than what I used to look when I was their age. And he said, you know, Mr. Logan, it's an honor to meet you. I just wanted to show you this figure that I got. And I was like, oh, that's great. He said, what happened was I was either able to buy this figure offline, or I was able to buy a Comic-Con ticket. And I said, well, which one did you go with? And obviously he's sitting there with a toy that's signed by me, you know, and I'm like, you chose my autograph on a figure at 16 over a Comic-Con ticket. I was like, that's one of the biggest, you know.
Compliments ever.
You got it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I was like, let me re-sign that toy, you know, so then I did a double signature on there for him. I gave him, you know, a couple extras, and then I just took a picture with him, and he was blown away at 16, and I'm like, this is what Star Wars was all about, bringing these kids into this world that had possibilities of becoming bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I'll never forget this moment, Mr. Logan. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's the power we have sitting behind this table, you know? So
Absolutely. I love that you get that. I love that you understand sort of the gravity of having fans come up to you. No one, I think, did it better or as good as a buddy of yours, Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
Real quick story. He came to San Antonio like 3 years ago when he first started doing the Texas tour.
yeah, when he was helping out the comic book
When he was
shops,
helping
yeah.
the comic shops, he came and helped out one of my shops, one of my friend's shops, and he signed from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Never took a break, never had a lunch, never took a meal. He just went straight on and was enthusiastic with everybody. And then he even hung out with the comic book owners, the shop owners, for like hours, just shooting the
relaxing.
shit and just relaxing. I mean, if you could expand on just how great he was with the fans and just what you would like the fans to know about Jason, knowing him personally.
I mean, for me, I met him, I've been doing conventions for years. I mean, you know, as young as I am, I'm a veteran in the world, and I think I was in Dallas, and I had someone sit next to me, and he ends up bringing in this huge crowd. And next to me, he's like, all right, guys, on the count of 3, it's morphin' time. And you hear like this whole crowd, you know, and conventions are usually very quiet people, you know, and they line up and they're very humble and they're quiet, they come up and they get your autograph. And next minute, you've got this guy who's drawing this crowd and the sound, you know, and it's like, and then 1, 2, 3, it's morphin' time. And the whole group got together, you know, the whole line, and it got everybody engaged together, you know, and I was blessed to be able to have him, you know, as a friend on the convention circuit. But then what happened was we ended up working on films together in Philippines and China. So then we got to know each other, because we only really had each other. So we'd go to dinners together, drink coffees together and stuff like that. And, you know, I really got to to learn the man in the depth that he really is, you know. And I think, like for me, you know, I can't speak for him anymore, but he was just really grateful for the opportunity that the fans gave us, you know, and being able to be behind the seat and change people's lives, you know. And I think when you see someone with such high positivity and being able to change people's lives, and they walk away happier from your table than when they first arrived to see you that day, you expect that person to, you know, have no problems or, you know, no issues. And you never know what someone deals with when you have to go home to yourself every day, you know. And we're all just carrying a bucket of water around, you know, and you think someone with that huge popularity, you know, and that huge charisma and that wonderful smile and that energy he brought, you'd think he had a big bucket, you know, and you just never know that day that you just can't carry the bucket, you know. And I miss him. I miss him truly, you know. He's one of the people that you look forward to seeing, you know. There's so many, you know, amazing actors that you get to see, but some of these guys, they don't even lift their head up off the table, you know, or like lift their head up to acknowledge that you even stood in front of them. And I learned from Jeremy Bulloch, you know, and Jeremy Bulloch said, Daniel, you know, you don't understand the power of the opportunity that you get to meet these people. It's not even, it's more than the money, right? It's a great opportunity to make an income, but it's about being able to reach people, give them something that they never had, and then they walk away feeling bigger and brighter.
The total experience.
Of the experience,
yeah.
You know, and Jason did that perfectly. And it was a huge loss for the whole Rangers community, you know. I mean, he was their leader, technically, you know, and I just pray for all of them, you know. I hope that, you know, they're able to find their footings in the world as well, and to know that he's up there now watching upon us, you know. And
absolutely,
his energy will continue on because the memories that we're all going to be able to continue to say about him and share about him.
Absolutely. And you can catch Daniel sharing that positivity as Jason always did on the convention circuit. Follow him on Instagram at Daniel Logan. Is it Daniel Logan Official?
Insta Daniel Logan.
Insta Daniel Logan.
Yeah.
Follow him, make sure and check him out, and bring all of those Boba Fett items to get signed. And if you got to sell a Comic-Con ticket, to go ahead and do that. Make sure you come see him. I want to appreciate you for all your time.
Thank you, Ted.
Hey guys, Adrian Owing here. For more Geekcast episodes, subscribe to us on your podcast app and please write us a review. Be sure to like us at Facebook at facebook.com/CountdownCityGeekcast. Follow us on Twitter at ccg_podcast or visit our website at www.countdowncitygeekcast.com. See you later, guys.